Counselor Accents Podcast. Two school counselors who love their jobs. Oh, and they happen to have Southern accents too. Bless their hearts.
I'm Kim Crumbly.
I'm Laura Rankhorn.
And together we are Counselor
Accents.
See, I thought I would just have it with you.
Thank you, because I feel like you hog the show whenever you're the one that has to say it, and you won't let me do it.
We're going to be talking about Kindness Day, National Kindness Day, and part of this podcast, and I'm starting already.
Oh, I feel it. Thank you. Well, we are going to be sharing what we are calling your fall toolkit. Maybe I should say autumn, because I'm very hesitant to say fall break because my mother fell and broke her leg one year during fall break. So when I say fall break, I associate it with falling and breaking a bone.
So are you telling me right now that you've got a trigger and that is
I have a trigger, break? Yes. So let's call it your autumn toolkit. Okay. Fall toolkit.
I love it.
So there are a lot of activities and awareness dates that happen in the autumn. And so let's just jump right in. You want to?
Let's do it.
Okay.
So I guess when we think of October, it is like, as my principal calls it, the Superbowl counsel. As he calls several things, the Superbowl, a counselor's Superbowl. Do we want to just go over everything we're going to talk about to begin with, and then do that, or just?
I like to hold my cards close and
hold your cards close, and we're going to surprise.
Yeah.
Then we'll surprise.
All right. So there are a lot of awareness dates and events that happen during the autumn. And let's just jump in with October. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when we think about October?
You know, I think it's going to be, this is where a lot of counselors are going to focus on bullying. Bullying events or activities or bullying events. We're going to have a bullying event. So I need you to bring your best bully. So this is, a time where it's National Bullying Prevention Month. So did I just make that holiday up?
No, you are right on.
Month.
Yeah, you're right.
So we're going to give some practical rubber meets the road ideas on how to meet what we need to do as counselors to get that information out, whether you are hybrid, traditional, or virtual. How can we I don't know that it's ever been more important than it is right now, because students are at home, a lot of them, and they're on their devices a lot. So my mind, Laura, is going to making sure that we touch on cyberbullying.
Yeah. Well, it is growing in importance, and I know that our state and a lot of other states are adopting laws that put the responsibility on the school system, whether it happens at school or happens at home. And so cyberbullying has become something that, like it or not, we have to focus on it. We have to bring awareness, and we have to take action. So
yeah, let me unpack that a little bit, because I have had, and I know folks have mixed reactions about that, because I know in years past, if it happened at home, our hands were tied, and now, as you said, the laws that we're seeing, and I don't know what other states are seeing, but we are, as I've told my teachers, we're held to a microscope now. What did you do? You knew, even if it didn't happen at school, if it happened at home and they were, through text messages or social media, what did you do? And so, I tell the teachers, you can no longer hear about it, turn your head and pretend that you didn't hear about it or you don't know about it, because you need to show that you've done your due diligence, or you yourself for the first time can be in some serious trouble, because we know sometimes kids that are bullied do things to themselves or hurt themselves or worse. And what did the school do what they could do? And it's the right thing to do, I feel like. So to to help in any way we can. So if we know it happens wherever, we have to do our due diligence. And so this month, to keep those things down, we need to be educating parents and we need to be educating students so that we can show that we have done our due diligence as far as this is what bullying is, this is what bullying is not, this is what you can't do, and this is what we're not going to allow. This is what my school system's handbook says. Whatever you have at your disposal, you need to be getting that out to your teachers. I mean, yes, your teachers, your parents, and your students. Maybe that will cut down on what we have to do in the long run.
Well, we make up a lot of sayings on our podcast, and I'm going to attempt this one, but what is it? Prevention is worth an ounce of medicine. What is it?
Yes, there is something there. Let's see. Prevention is worth an ounce of medicine.
That's what I just said. So that's where you heard
I'm
that.
trying to make that sense, but
Okay.
there's something, but I'm sure you'll pop it across the podcast and tell us what that is. But
let me explain what I mean, and that is just what you said, just making them aware. Whenever we can be proactive and explain and educate, then it does prevent things later on, I feel like. So the first thing that comes to my mind, well, let me say this. Every year when I give my stakeholder needs assessment, it is so funny to me to see that parents rate bullying as the highest need in the school. Students, it's usually toward the bottom of what they feel like they want to learn about or need to learn about. So that's always interesting to me. So if that's the case with you, we still have an obligation to let the parents know, hey, this was a need that you brought to me. This is how I handled it. So it was a big need this year with the parents at my school, and I've done my bullying lesson. But I think educating students, a couple of years ago, I got so outdone because I felt like the word bullying was so overused. So it hit me last year, then I need to educate them. I need to educate them for how the word bullying has changed, what bullying is and what bullying isn't. So this lesson that we have, I think, is great. And I'm not trying to plug our lesson because I'm fixing to tell you how you can get it for free. So don't think that I'm trying to sell a lesson here. What I love about it, though, is it tells what bullying is. It tells what bullying isn't. And it makes students aware that maybe they've been a bully before, but starting today, you don't have to be anymore.
So this really is a great lesson, Laura, and I can say that because you authored the lesson and not me, so I will brag on you, but this is a great lesson. It is for elementary, I will say that, that the bullying, but it is amazing, and it really does a good job of a lot of times what parents consider bullying, and then they'll come and they'll talk to me about it, and I'm like, that is literally their best friend. They sit together every day. They've had an argument, or maybe they need to look into new friends because this one does this. But to educate students on what bullying really is, that it's repetitive. It's not I was in a bad mood and I said something that I shouldn't have said, which then you would be a bully, Laura. But you're not.
That's why we're doing this. Really, it's an intervention for you to realize that you.
Oh, it's an intervention for me. I see.
Yeah, and let me say this too. Let me add this. The end of that lesson has an anti-bullying pledge card, and you mentioned it's for elementary. I did it up to my 5th grade. I think I started with I did it with 2nd grade last year, and it worked great. I did it with 5th grade all the way up to 5th grade this year, and it worked great for them too. And I will say this, my 5th graders took it very seriously. Like signing the pledge card at the end that says, like, from this day forward, I won't bully anymore. A lot of them ask, wait a minute, does this count for siblings? Which I told them no. Siblings, like, no. But I just felt like, and I told them, I said, I appreciate you taking this so seriously and not wanting to sign unless this is something that you feel like you can do, because that's what I noticed in every class that I did it with. So anyway.
That is really good, and I did it with 3rd grade. But and I'm going to talk a little bit about how I do the lessons so that they're good for students who are virtual. Okay. And so we'll talk about that, because even though some of you may be thinking, well, we're not even in school right now, we're virtual. how am I going to get a bullying lesson out to students who are virtual? And so if you can do it traditionally, there's a way to do it virtually. That's what we've said. You just have to look for that way. So for high schoolers, there are some great Nearpod lessons. If you're not familiar with Nearpod, that is such an easy program. If your system has not bought, which a lot of school systems have bought all the Nearpod lessons, but you can buy these individually, and they're interactive, so they'll work for virtual students or traditional students. You can do a teacher paced or a student paced, but so those are wonderful resources for all ages, and we really want students to think about what they're doing online. So I would encourage you to also think about adding cyberbullying lessons out there too this year. So what we say, talking about, and that might be a good fit for you and the librarian. If
oh, that's a good idea.
Or this is a lesson on cyberbullying that is part of their standards. It really, I think it falls under a lot of technical, training is what we say stays on social media and that kind of thing. So you might want to get with your librarian.
Yeah.
To do that lesson. So that might be a good idea on that one. So what about mentoring, Laura? I know you have used mentors in the past.
Yeah, I think that it goes along with educating the teachers about what makes up a bully. And a lot of times the bully has low self-esteem, or maybe comes from a home where he's been bullied in the past, or she's been bullied. And so looking for those characteristics to know who the bullies are, which, let's be honest, the teachers know who the bullies are. Mm-hmm. But sometimes connecting them with an older student, or letting them know, hey, if I can see you go without being mean to a student for this amount of time, I'm going to let you talk to a younger student, making the bully the mentor possibly. Sometimes you are, oh gosh, what's the word? Like, just that level of accountability makes them toe the line sometimes. So,
or somebody believing in them, because we have hurt people, and I saw that work with probably our biggest bully in our school. The teacher, the child did not pass. The teacher kept her for another year, and I thought, heaven help you. But the second year was wonderful because we came up with a plan, and it changed the whole little girl's outlook. We knew that academics were an issue, so we've given her supports there, but also put her in charge of a lot of activities, so she felt some accomplishment. Yeah. So sometimes digging and finding out why is the student behaving this way.
So if we look at opportunities to mentor, maybe if you are a high school counselor, pull some students that might be good mentors and contact the elementary or middle school counselor, because this is a great way to work together. I worked with the high school it was a club, and a lot of them came over and read with my younger students or played games with them, ate lunch with them. And so for the students who were being bullied, that was an instant popularity boost, because all of a sudden a high school student was coming to eat lunch with them. But if they're the bully, then maybe having somebody to show them, hey, you don't have to bully, letting them know they're popular and because they're kind to others, and just demonstrating that kindness. And but anyway, we can also do this through Zoom or Google Meets, so students can still be mentored even through distance learning. Like you say every episode, if you've done it in real life, there's a way to do it in virtual life.
Absolutely. So let's talk about moving past bullying onto another event that a lot of folks do in October, whether they call it Red Ribbon Week or if it's just, drug awareness or safety, because, we talk more than just alcohol and drugs. We have also talked about, safety around others, or how all of those things. So let's talk a little bit. maybe it is your Red Ribbon Week, maybe it's your drug awareness, whatever you call it. What are some ideas that you have for, let's start with high school. What are some ideas that you would use for a high school counselor?
Well, I've never been a high school counselor, Kim.
Oh, so you want to ask me? Okay, so you ask me.
Okay.
Right, you ask me.
What are some ways that you can observe Red Ribbon Week as a high school counselor?
Thank you for asking. Well, I tell you right now, and this is really good because of the a lot of high schools, especially a lot of high schools are virtual or they're hybrid. The natural high videos can be sent out through Google Classroom. If you've not looked at those natural high videos, that's a great resource. There are a lot of great resources for high schoolers that I wouldn't share with younger students, but it's a lot of information for high schoolers. But the natural high is a positive instead of looking at the negative. It is because we know that drugs keep people from living their best lives, and that's kind of where the natural high videos come in. Also, I have had success with bringing in speakers to high schoolers. They like to hear people's stories, and you bring in a good speaker, that's going to go a long way with, and that could be for older elementary, middle, but it's great for high school. It's a great resource for high school to bring in a speaker. And again, we have to look at this differently. So if you have to do a Zoom with a speaker, you might even have more options of who you get because of the Zoom. So I think I think what I've just said would go for middle school, high school, easily natural high videos. And we have a lesson again. We're not hawking our lessons. That's a word. Is it hawking?
I think it is.
Like peddling your wares is
Yeah.
So we're not, because we're going to give you an opportunity to take this lesson free, but we have the theme for Red Ribbon was be happy, be brave, be drug free. And so we kind of looked at that theme, and we made a lesson that went around that. And so for your elementary through middle school, possibly early high school, this lesson would work. So you have an option to get that lesson if you want it, but it talks about how drugs can take away our joy, our happiness, and keeps us from doing the things that we love to do. So that's some options. I think for elementary, we have a lesson, and we have several Red Ribbon lessons, but for elementary this year, we focused on the be happy, like Bumblebee, be happy. And it's a cute lesson, but it's about the misuse of like medicines or drugs
and staying safe with, who can you take medicine from, who can you not take medicine from, and things like that. And I will say that we have gotten comments on that lesson about it's been very difficult to find a way to teach younger elementary students, but this lesson did it. And so we love hearing things like that, because it lets us know that we're doing what you guys need, and that's the reason that we do it.
So I think right here I'm just going to take a break and just kind of we've talked about virtual students, and we have both. We have traditional and we have virtual students at ours in our school system where Laura and I are. So I'm not sure how yours look, but this may be an idea for you. But whatever, if it's a video I'm going to show, if it's a PowerPoint lesson that Laura and I have done, then I use Screencast-O-Matic. I know some people use Screencastify. And I just, as if like you and I are talking right now, I am talking to my class, or, there's really not a class there, but I'm teaching my lesson. And it allows me to switch back and forth from me to a video, to a PowerPoint, to back to me. I can add music. I can create everything I need right there. And then I can stick that in whatever you're using to get those lessons out. I'm using Google Classroom. I can put that in my Google Classroom and shoot that out to my virtual students. I can go in the classroom and the kids think I'm a movie star. So those are just some ideas of how you can get your lessons out there to those kids who are virtual. And you can use them for other ways also. So that's how we are doing that. So anything else on Red Ribbon or drug awareness?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love the dress up days that go with Red Ribbon Week. And
yes,
we make these fit the theme every year. And so this year we are going with Be Happy, Be Brave, Be Drug Free. So we have a lot of dress up days about, dress up like what makes you happy, or wear bright colors that make you happy. Be dressed like someone who's brave.
And I loved the Be Brave because and I'll stop you on the Be Brave Day because we're doing that too. We're doing a Be Happy Day. We're being a Be Brave Day. And with what we're seeing with COVID, and this is a great opportunity to talk to the kids about how brave the medical folks, the first responders, and and you can bring that career aspect into also. I love to bring in a career day if I possibly can, dress up. And this, I think, kind of hits that because my students love to dress up like, because I'm in elementary, they're going to love to dress up like a firefighter or whatever. But even in high school, dressing up like our nurses and our first responders or whatever. So I love that Be Brave Day, especially the heroes that we have seen come forth during this pandemic. So I think it's just a great fit. And
very good. And that works too with your virtual students. Have them dress up during your daily meeting or whatever your virtual setting is. Have them send a picture or do a hashtag or upload it to your school counseling social media, whatever you have. Use that and include them in the dress up days.
That'd be great, and you can engage them. And my teachers would not be happy if we did not have a pajama day. So we have a Be Comfortable Day.
Oh, why didn't you tell me that?
That they will not have it. That was not my original plan. But we have to have a Be Comfortable Day. So, and then we have like a Be Full of School Spirit Day or something like that. I can't remember, but anyway, or Be Ready for college or and dress. There's so many ideas that you can do with that. So check those lessons out.
And then morning announcements, that's where I educate my students about what is Red Ribbon Week. Even I do the lesson, but what is the reason behind Red Ribbon Week? So I do those morning announcements, and my students this year want to turn that into a trivia question through Zoom, like a trivia competition. They want to take those morning announcements and then on Friday, ask questions through Zoom and find a winner. I thought that was such a fun idea for them.
That is great. And you can have students record those announcements too. So there's a lot of fun things that you can do to get the information. There's different ways, as we say, to skin a cat, which is so repulsive.
You know how many calls we get from PETA when you say that?
Every time I say skin a cat. But there's different ways to get this information out. So be creative.
And let us know your ideas because we all grow from each other.
Yep.
So have we exhausted Red Ribbon Week? Are we ready to
We are done. We are done, and it leads us right up to Halloween.
Yes, Halloween. And let me tell you, I've seen, and I think it's a great question, I've seen a lot of school counselors say, how do you teach holidays when your students may not observe those holidays? And I thought, that's right. That's a great question. And I think when you focus on fear, it is a scary time. We were driving down the road the other day, and a business had the blow-up ghost that moves when the wind blows and everything. And my little 4-year-old got so scared because she saw this ghost. And I thought, oh man, we have a couple more weeks and it's just going to get scarier from here. Every commercial you see is about a scary movie, and it can be a scary time. So
it's a scary time already without.
We don't know that.
There's a lot of scary things in the world without seeing extra. But so what you're saying is instead of focusing on the holiday, because some kids love, let's be honest, some kids love Halloween. They love trick-or-treating. not focusing on, but you know, for some kids they love it. Some parents don't approve of any, you know, different holidays, and so the thing is that focus on what the meaning is, you know, maybe that we think about. And a lot of kids, this lesson on fear is a great lesson because you know, a lot of kids are afraid of what's in the closet or afraid of the dark any time of year. So this is a great time to address it. And I tell you, the bully lesson has the cutest monsters ever.
Oh,
The bully lesson, back to the bully lesson.
yeah.
And my kids were like, oh, you know, it just kind of fit with Halloween
Yeah.
because of the monsters, and it's just so seasonal. You know, it was just seasonal, so they loved it. But
Another
there are
thing,
different ways to skin a cat. So yes, if it's a holiday that they don't approve of, what is usually holidays? There's an underlying meaning, or
Yeah.
you know, that you can look for the good and pull out what you can that's teachable, and what are those nuggets that we can get and still be aware of this holiday. And I'm sharing teaching my students my mindsets and behaviors at the same time.
and the other thing about Halloween this year is a lot of places aren't doing the trick or treating. And so to teach a Halloween lesson like we have in the past, it could be just more salt in the wound of how different this year is and the things that the students are missing out on. So I really don't know that I would want to focus on Halloween necessarily to remind them, hey, it's not like it always has been.
Yeah, and so, but there's some still. This is a fun lesson, though.
It is fun.
So it's just fun.
Yeah.
We still, you know, we want kids to enjoy their childhood, and this is a scary time. So this is a fun lesson. It helps them understand maybe their fears,
And it gives them coping skills.
absolutely.
Coping skills for what to do when they are scared.
So that's a good point, and that falls right into our October toolkit, our autumn toolkit. But now we're moving into November.
Yes.
We know a lot of counselors use November as their month for their career lessons, or their big career days is in November, which is a great time if for certain parts, because that's the weather's usually, you know, it's not. Well, here it is. I don't know about other places.
Oh, yeah, true. Some places have snow, and that's why I don't live in those
already snowing this morning.
No.
I did my sleeves outside. Minnesota's snowing this morning.
Yeah, and we did back in March. We did 2 podcast episodes on virtual career fairs because, again, all of a sudden we found ourselves in this situation where we had to think and do differently. And what I saw, what you saw through this is all of a sudden we have more opportunities to expose our students to opportunities outside of our community using these virtual career fairs. So take advantage of that. And I'm going to put a link to those episodes in our show notes so that if you want to listen to those, we had 2 fantastic guests on that told us how they have done their virtual career fairs. So just think differently on that.
Yeah.
And there are websites out there like Skype a Scientist and Nepris, that's NEPRIS, that let you connect with various careers and schedule an appointment, and you put in your request for what type of career you'd like. Those people respond to it, and then you can host that person through a Zoom. So those are great resources to use, especially right now.
And, Laura and I do a lot of speaking on careers. And, one of the things that one of the pushes that I cannot even talk today. One of the things we're pushing is for teachers and counselors to get past just teaching careers that are already, available right now, but to think past into the future to those careers that we may not even be aware of yet. So,
this is a soapbox, and if we get up on this soapbox,
thank you for saying soapbox. I could not think of it, but let me just say, my mother made red velvet cake, and I had a piece. I'm not kidding you, as big as your head, and you know how big.
I know how big my head is. Yeah.
So I am a little drunk from her red ribbon cake. I mean, not really. So I am not thinking clearly, as you can tell, and it's from that sugar.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I know, it was really good. So the Skype Scientist, the NEPRIS, the thinking past maybe what we've done in the past to just those typical careers, and help students see that their critical thinking skills, their computational skills, all of these things, that it may not look as direct as the career teachings that we've done in the past, but they need these skills to be ready for their careers in the future. So this is a good time to look at some of that. I don't know if you have any links to anything we have done before or said before. I know we have a career lesson that they might want to check out. But
we do, and we do have a podcast that's on this soapbox coming up soon. So
very good, very good.
But I will. Am I jumping ahead here to say check out NC Wit? Am I jumping ahead, or is that on your list?
This is the perfect time.
Okay,
this is the perfect time.
All right. I'll put a link to the organization NC Wit in the show notes. But November would be a great time, and this reaches all grade levels. But check out NC Wit and some of the resources they have where you're exposing students, your females especially, into technology and computer science, and teaching them about the career opportunities that are in computer science. And Kim, you and I both know that it is one of the most the career fields with the most growth. What was it? There were 350,000 available computer science jobs in 2017, but like nowhere near that many graduates to fill those careers.
So it's like a 67% need with a 10% graduation.
Yeah.
So, and NC Wit does a really good job of making sure that we are getting this information about computer jobs out to everyone, not just to white males, but to all minority groups. And because we've got to fill these jobs, and people have got to be aware. And so equity is a really big thing to NC Wit, making sure that all that information is equitable for all students. And that is going to be my focus this year with my middle school, is going to be careers. What we talk about as far as their thinking and we call them not soft skills, but necessary skills that these students, I'm not calling it, you call it something else. What do you?
Essential skills.
Essentials. So the essential skills, not soft skills, that these students need. But I really am going to focus more on than any other on the computer. It's computer science and computing and coding and all of those things to make sure these kids have an opportunity, because we do know that when you think about any career they go into, and this is where our brains have to go, there are now levels of that computer science just about anything that you can think of that they would go into. So they need to know. They need to know about this and what they, how valuable they'll be, valuable to the workforce.
One of my favorite quotes from this organization is computer science is the new literacy. That reading is not an option, and teaching our students about computers and computer science, that should be as natural as teaching literacy.
It's the new literacy. So you wouldn't say, you don't hear students say, well, when am I ever going to use reading?
Right.
Why am I learning this? When would I ever use this? The same thing with computer literacy. It is the new literacy. This is, every student needs to be aware. We and as school counselors, we're often the gatekeepers of career stuff. So we need to be on our toes. NC Wit is a great resource.
And the thing is,
say enough about it.
Your students know this already. Your students know that this is the language that they speak, and so we have to get on board with that, whether we're comfortable with it or not.
Yeah.
But that's a soapbox. We have now jumped up on our soapbox, Kim.
But it's Career Development Month, so that's a great time to check out some of these new resources, and it's a new start. We say all the time, especially now, this is a new start for everybody, because it's like we're all first year teachers. It's like we're all first year counselors, because we're having to think differently and do differently. And people, this is an opportunity to try something different. Maybe you've never really delved into the world of career awareness like this, like we're talking about doing. And now you can start it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. When we're giving you a toolkit, you don't have to juggle all these things and start them all next week or tomorrow. Pick one thing and, just improve by one thing. And that's all we're saying. We're just equipping you with some ideas.
So moving right along, Laura, did you know that in November...
Wait. I want you to talk about centers for careers.
Okay. Setting up centers for students, and I have done this in the past, is a great way for those essential skills, or necessary skills, not soft skills. So this is great for littles up. I mean, you could have a center for middle school. You could have a center on coding. You can have You can have even picture books. That there's so many great books out there right now that are not specific to a career, but the Girl That Made No Mistakes, or is that the name of that book? But there's just a lot of books that are not so specific to a career, but it's really about those skills that you need for whatever career that we haven't even come up with yet.
Yeah.
So setting up centers, we have found that even games students play doesn't have to be technical games. So, this is just learning to communicate, collaborate, be a team player. It's amazing and some of this goes back to the way things probably were done a long time ago, and we've gotten out of it. But people need to learn how to collaborate, how to talk, how to build things, come up with ideas. So just set up opportunities for students to do those things.
And when you think about, setting up, this is for little people, this part, but when you think about setting up like a veterinarian's office, and you have these students, like you said, communicating and problem solving. Hello, that's one of our mindsets and behaviors, problem solving, to figure out what's wrong with this animal. Then they prescribe medicine and convert the measurements and things like that. Well, then you are getting into cross-curricular things, and all of a sudden the classroom teacher is saying, hey, I can use this to meet my math standard for this week. And you are killing so many birds with one stone. And
I can't say skin a chicken. Again, it's that red velvet cake. I can't say skin.
I think it's already calling. I'm just going to go for it, and I'm going to stone some birds. And I hate birds. So,
and dogs. And
basically all wildlife.
And you're from Tennessee, and I don't know how you can say that. So we've talked a lot about the careers. So we have beat that horse to death.
Gosh.
I'm sorry. It's just so many of our colloquialisms. You're dealing with why is that? Because we're not going to really beat a horse to death, but it is Southern sayings, and I don't know why that is, but I apologize.
Well, when we spoke at ASCA, that one person did get upset because we said skin. Yeah, and I fixed it, and she said, thank you for fixing that. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you're going to have to fix a lot of stuff today. We mean no harm. We do no harm.
I do mean harm to my dog. If somebody will...
Besides her dog. She does mean harm for the dog. But I am not going to beat a horse or skin a cat. Or a chicken.
One thing happened to my dog during this episode, and I was not going to put it in there. I may put it at the end. I don't know. But I just want to let everybody know, if I took it out, if you don't know why I'm mad at my dog, something happened during this episode to make me hate my dog even more. So just know, that's why we keep referencing my dog.
Yes, it was bad.
Anyway.
Okay, So, moving past career development
And animals.
and animals to World Kindness Day. Be Kind to Animals Day. World Kindness Day is November the 4th?
13th.
13th. November the 13th is World Kindness Day. And so if you go to, which I love Random Acts of Kindness, I love that site. If you've not, RAK, or Random Acts of Kindness, if you've never visited, which I'm sure most of you have, but they have so many great SEL activities, lessons, but a lot of things to do around just good old fashioned kindness and ideas of how to spread that kindness. And I do not know of a better time in history to make sure that you are you're using all of our we're pulling out all the stops when it comes to kindness. And so go celebrate, do something. I know we have kindness in we do a lot on kindness in February, but this is, go to Random Acts of Kindness. They do have a World Kindness Day, and look for ideas of things that you can do. And Laura, you and I have felt it was very, very important this year that one of our goals was to make sure that our students are okay socially, emotionally, as we say, as best as we can, and also to really, I guess, work on the climate and culture of our school as far as where our teachers are concerned and the burdens that they're carrying, that we all are carrying, but we have certainly seen that our teachers are placed into a situation they've never been placed into before. And so people look to us as far as the emotional help. And so this might be an opportunity, if you can't focus maybe on the kids or of the students, maybe just focus on your teachers or you know. But we have upped the ante when it comes to kindness to our teachers, and every month we're trying to do something for our teachers, and I have seen it's reciprocal. I can't outgive, because the more I'm kind to them, the more they're kind to me. So,
well,
this is a great lesson.
I think that's a good segue too into Stress Awareness Week, which is that first week of November, and National Stress Awareness Day is November 4th.
It is.
Okay. So I think that kindness and showing kindness to our teachers, I think that it sort of crosses
hand in hand.
Yeah, with Stress Awareness Week. And over and over and over again, we have people sending us messages saying, staff morale is down, what can I do? Or we're just seeing these comments everywhere, what can I do? Staff morale has never been lower. And so, like you said, we have tried to focus on our teachers when the year started. And if you've taken our course, or if you join in our weekly Zoom meetings, then you know I've said this already. But at the beginning of the year, we are mainly in person. And because of COVID, I can't have students come to my classroom. I have to go to their classroom. And I was very upset about that at first, because I like to do a good room transformation. And how can I transform the classroom when I'm going into, 10 different classrooms? How can I transform classrooms? But it was actually my husband's idea to transform my classroom into a getaway for the teachers. So during that time that I have their class, he said, you can make your room sort of a spa, getaway, relaxation station. And that's what I do every time I have their class. I have their favorite snacks on hand. I try to play music or soften the lights, or I do something to make it an escape for them. And like you said, you can't outgive them, because they have turned right around and given me like beautiful gourmet candy apples, and they've given me earrings, and they have given me my favorite candy and stuff like that. So they're very, and they appreciate it. They appreciate it, and they leave me notes, and I love that too. Just knowing that I made their day. So they appreciate that stuff.
So it is kind of like pay it forward, and it comes back around, and it just grows, and it does. And it could be, so we talked to a counselor, and she said something like she made a banana bread or pumpkin loaf, or and just passes that out to the teachers, just anything like that. boost morale. And it goes back to the stress awareness and the world kindness can kind of go hand in hand if you want to choose one or the other, because it's a lot, I know. But I don't. You can look up both of these for activities and ideas online. The stress awareness. There's a stress awareness webinar coming up in November. It's a worldwide stress awareness, and it's kind of focusing on where our stress is now because of the pandemic, and how we can help. Not necessarily. This isn't necessarily for schools, but it's just in general stress awareness and mental health and those kinds of things. But all of these things kind of creep into the school, so they're important. But these are some ideas. You don't have to do everything, but it may help you come up with something to do. So think about what you want to do for autumn, and pick out one or two things and go for it, and see how you can make it work in your situation. And every situation is different, because we're talking to a lot of counselors from all over the United States, and every counselor's, the way they're running school this year has been a little bit different from the other person. So you have to see what will work for you. But we hope that this helps you as you are making plans for what you're going to do the rest of this month and next month.
We have some housekeeping to do.
Talk to me.
Well, we've been telling you that we are going to give you the Red Ribbon Week lesson, the fear lesson, and the bullying lesson. And so now I want to tell you how we're going to do that. So if you will share the link that I'm going to put in the show notes, it is our current ad, just to let people know that, hey, we have a podcast and it's out there and we're having the best time ever doing it. If you'll share that ad, and if you will go rate and give us a review on this podcast, then email us and let us know that it's done. Tell us which lesson you want, then we will reply with that lesson. So if you already have our bullying lesson, let us know you want our Red Ribbon Week lesson, or other way around. Or if you want our fear lesson, just put it in the subject line, done Red Ribbon Week, or done bullying, or done fear, and we will reply with that lesson. Do you have a story or a situation?
Well, let's talk about why I don't have a story, and I always have a story. But I'm thinking of a scenario.
Okay.
So let's unpack this scenario.
Okay.
What if you have a student who, and as we see kids get older and going into middle school and higher, sometimes they don't want to participate. We've had counselors who talk to us about, what do you do with that student who does not want to participate? And where does your mind go?
Well, I could have written that myself. So tell that counselor that they are not alone, because that has happened before.
And it will happen to everybody. Yeah.
And this goes way back. What I have seen is, I've had students before who do that. They won't participate. And because of their influence, they encourage others not to participate. It can be very frustrating, and it can be very disheartening when you've put your heart and soul or your money into a lesson, and then all of a sudden they don't do it. So I like to just say, that's fine. You don't have to participate. I don't want this to be a stressor to you. This is a time for you to take a mental break. And if that's the way that you need to take a mental break, then that's okay. And they're not going to get to me by the way it appears. But then
that's very good.
The very next day, I called the ringleader into my office and just said, hey, I noticed yesterday you didn't want to participate. And I just wanted to make sure that you're not offended at me, or that I haven't done something to offend you, or that I haven't done something to upset you. And, I try to pick out the good and let them know that, hey, whatever. And so when they tell me why they didn't want to do it or whatever, then I go into, well, you are a leader. and I don't know if you noticed this or not, but the rest of the class joined in what you said. And you've got the choice to be a leader for good or a leader to take people the other direction. Huh?
For evil.
For evil. But sometimes just taking that extra time to let them know, hey, I noticed. So, and I say it very nicely, but it's almost my way of not letting them off the hook.
Yeah. And I think we have such a small amount of time with students that if you get into a power struggle,
yeah.
And I have talked to teachers about not doing this. I mean, because that's falling into what the student wants. Obviously, the student is hurting, or wants attention, or whatever. And so, if you go at them, if they are hurting, you've broke that, relationship, and it's hard. But I think ignoring it and moving forward, and then trying to loop back around is a great idea, and say, hey, is everything okay? I noticed you were kind of down, or I noticed that you were tired, or I noticed what's going on. And they know that you care about them, and they could just be trying you, to see your reaction. So I think that's a great answer to that question.
Well, every time that this has happened and I've pulled them in to talk to them, and I want to tell you that it may go against everything in me. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to be nice to them because they have made me upset, but I have to. And I have to fake it, and bring them in and talk to them. But you are establishing this connection with them. And one of them that grated on my nerves, something fierce. He and I came up with a special handshake. And so now, if I were to see that student, we've got this special handshake or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've made a connection with him, and guess what? Never had another problem out of him.
Yeah.
And for those students, the older ones that lead the opposite way from what you'd want them to do, why not do a little leadership cultivating with them? Bring them in, and they're obviously a leader.
Yes. Yeah.
So cultivate that and turn it into what you want it to be. Put them on student council or put them in charge of something, and let them know that you recognize those skills and use them to help do something you need to get done.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
I've got a story for you.
Oh, yay. I love stories.
Okay. There was an 89-year-old. His name is Derlin. Derlin, have you heard this story?
I have not heard about Derlin, the 89-year-old.
Okay. Well, he started delivering pizzas because his monthly check and retirement and all that stuff was not enough to make ends meet. So he went out and started delivering pizzas. And when I imagine an 89-year-old delivering pizzas, it hurts my heart a little bit because, I can't imagine him out driving. I can't imagine him working at night. I can't imagine how hard that's hard work, and he's 89.
Right.
I'd like to think when I'm 89,
a lot of
when I'm 89, I fully plan on being on a cruise ship, retired. That's going to be my nursing home. So anyway, he had to go out and deliver pizzas. Well, this one family who they have a TikTok account, and they were so struck by how friendly and what a great mood he was in. Every time he came to deliver pizzas, they started requesting him by name. Hey, we want to order a pizza, and we want Derlin to be the one to deliver it. And every time he came, he was just friendly, never in a bad mood. Well, they started videoing him for their TikTok account and sharing that across TikTok. Well, then they started digging a little bit deeper. Why is Derlin at 89 delivering pizzas? And they found out that he couldn't make ends meet and all that stuff. Well, they got their listeners to start, hey, if you want to send $1 to Derlin, we love it. Anyway, they collected over $12,000 that they gave to Derlin. And they took it to him. They took him a check, and he cried and cried. And anyway, it was very touching.
That's a great story. I love stories like that. That is so neat that they went that extra mile.
Yeah, I think it would be good too. We talked about Kindness Day coming up, and I think it would be good to show your students and let them know that, hey, if you see a need, fill a need. If you see someone hurting, figure out a way to, and it kind of goes along with problem solving with our mindsets and behaviors. find a solution.
And and recognize kindness.
Yeah.
And reward kindness. Recognize the kindness in others and see, the reward in that. That is great. I love it.
Realize that your response to things, to situations, even if you're having a bad day, it affects other people whenever you respond in a positive way.
And let me just say, and I know we're through with all the toolkits, but sometimes just showing students a video, we don't have to recreate any kind of wheel. There are stress videos on breathing and just that you could show middle school, high school to take a break, and those are videos that we can send out, and we don't have to do it. They're already there. Use those things, and like you're saying with this video with Derlin. Send that out. I mean, that's a lesson. You can add or not, there it is. But there's a lot of things that we can be,
That's good. That's good.
That's
Work
good.
smarter, not harder.
Not harder.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you can join our Counselor Accents Facebook group. We try to drop a nugget or two in there every day, and there's some conversation that goes on in there. You can watch these on YouTube. What else can you do, Kim?
I had that red velvet cake. I'm not helping you.
You're nothing to me.
I am
Instagram. Well, I always say we post in there once every blue moon, so it's getting about time for us to post in there. And you can join our newsletter. We send out a newsletter with all of the links to our podcasts, our episodes, our blogs. That's another thing you can do. You can check out our blog at counseloraccents.com. And don't forget that right now, if you will share that ad that we have going for our podcast and rate and review on Apple Podcasts, then we will send you the lesson of your choice. Once you email us, done Red Ribbon Week, done bullying, or done fear, we'll send you whichever lesson you put in the subject line.
Great.
And you can email us at counseloraccents@gmail.com. That's our email. Do we want to talk about what we have coming up? We have the contemporary father of school counseling. That is what I'm calling him, Dr. Russ Sabella, that will be joining us to talk about his new book, Solution-Focused School Counseling, The Missing Manual. And I've been reading it, and let me just tell you, it is incredible. I sent him an email.
You're excited to have him.
I am excited. I sent him an email and said, this truly is the missing manual, and everybody should read it.
So good. Can't wait.
All right. Until next time.